Welcome back to DeezyVision. Today we are here on the site of Fort Fincastle. If you remember, a few months ago I won the video competition that the AMC did at the Pompeii Museum. I won the video competition, and a part of my winnings was a VIP tour. And so I decided to cash in on my VIP tour winnings here at Fort Fincastle. So we're going to be doing the VIP Fort Fincastle tour today. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited, and I'm excited to bring you guys with me. So if you're ready, come on, let's go. Just want to give you guys a look of the outside of Fort Charlotte. Fort Fincastle, I'm sorry. Fort Fincastle. This is how the fort looks from the outside, and we're about to head inside in just a few moments to begin our tour. Now this is a view of the building that you'd come to purchase your tickets for your tour. So you'll stop here first before you go on to the inside. And then here's you can't see this too good because the sun has already worn this out. And if you look, this is the other side of the fort. Here have some benches where you can sit, and then you have some cannons here, 2 cannons helping to keep guard of the fort. I think this would be a building that deals with water supply, and this walk that we're taking is going to take you around to the other side of Fort Fincastle. This is a huge castle. Huge fort. Not like it's not as big as Fort Charlotte, so this is a view from the outside. And like I said, we're going to be heading on the inside shortly to start our tour. Right, we're heading on the inside to begin our VIP tour.
Okay, pleasant good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to Fort Fincastle. My name is Raquel. I'm a tour guide here. I'll tell you the basic history. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Fort Fincastle was built 1793 by a British governor, Lord Dunmore. He was the last royal governor of New York and Virginia. This fort was built in anticipation of a French invasion. A war between England and France. The French were sent here, but they never made it. They got defeated in the Battle of the Nowes by Lord Nelson, so this fort never saw any action. The cannons we have here at the fort today, these are very old. They're made of cast iron. They're not the originals. The originals were made of bronze, and they were sent back to England in 1844 to 59. But, like I said, they are real cannons. Once they were fired, they can go about 1.75 miles, which is equal to about 3,000 yards. Now, we also notice that they're on traversing carriages, basically because it gave a wider range on where they wanted the cannons to be fired or where they needed them to go. The first room here, watch your steps coming down, still a little bit fast, was meant for a prison. Watch your steps going in, you have a deep drop. But since the fort never saw any action, never had any prisoners, the guards used this as a place of rest. It took 50 soldiers to man the fort. They work a 12-hour day shift, so you had 25 resting, 25 manding. The holes that are located on both sides of the wall, you can see straight out to the other side. These were just ventilation holes that always kept the room very nice and cool. The fort was manned by European soldiers. They died out. Poor ventilation, yellow fever, malaria. But basically, they thought it was the air that was making them sick. So what they decided to do was recruit West Indian Regiment soldiers. So West Indian Regiment soldiers were recruited from 1801, and they manned all of our forts until 1891, when the British military decided to leave. But some of those soldiers already decided to make the Bahamas their home. So what happened is, when the British military decided to leave, they decided to stay. So some of us today are descendants of those West India regiments. Careful, right here we have a little drop. You may have noticed the shape of the fort. So the fort was built to shape like an old paddle wheel steamer, just to give up for the skies to intruders or invaders that it was a wrecked ship on land. So at the back, We have the stern. You see the round part? So it has the stern, and once we get up to the top, you'll notice the bow part of it. There's nothing in there. That's just solid coral and limestone rock. Okay? Once you're done, watch your steps. Tell me when, just right here by the gate, when you finish both of these. That's it. Thank you, baby. This little area here was a heating furnace or a shot furnace, so it's like a big stove. This is where they heated all the cannonballs really hot. Back then, cannonballs were not explosives. Vicks weren't invented. What they had was a sponge called a wad. They would dump that wad in water, place it on the inside of those cannons, push it at the back next to the gunpowder. That red hot heated cannonball was removed with an instrument called a cannon tongue, then placed next to the wad. So it's going to burn through that bedding of sponge, hit the gunpowder, ignite, fire off at the ships. Now back then, the ships were wooden ships. So all they did was create hot shots from great balls of fire just to burn them down or just to do more damage than it's supposed to be done. Okay? This room here, the fort's most protected room, the powder magazine. So this is where they would have stored all of the gunpowder. But the fort is made up of the main formation of this island coral and limestone. When wet, will produce some moisture. So within the first few months, they lost nearly 200 barrels of their gunpowder. Okay, watch your steps coming around. There's a low head drop, sir. So here we have a little bit of information and some pictures on what the fort would have looked like in the late 18th century, early 19th century. Once again, we do have the ventilation walls, but because of the moisture of the rock, the gunpowder was still destroyed.
Lies a destination equally rich in history. Those with a passion for the past can enjoy the island life, while adding a few historically relevant points of interest to the itinerary. An impressive structure that speaks to the military might of the past, Fort Fincastle is a fascinating study of how the islands have transformed over time. Lord Dunmore, the royal governor of the time, recognized the need for the island to be protected from potential invaders. He commissioned the building of Fort Fincastle in 1793. Its name honors Lord Dunmore's second title, Viscount Fincastle. Constructed on a cut limestone, the fort was strategically placed at the top of Bennett's Hill to protect historic Nassau and its harbor. You're standing in a chamber, once used as a powder magazine. This was the fort's most protected room, where gunpowder was stored for use in the fort's cannons. Highly explosive and easily ruined by moisture, gunpowder was kept in isolated chambers called magazines. Although none of the fort's 7 cannons were ever fired in defense, Fort Fincastle was well manned by the West India Regiment. While weather has taken a toll since the time of its original construction, the fort maintains its impressive demeanor nonetheless and is worth admiring.
Okay, so we're gonna just make a little turn to head back out. Watch your steps, exit, and watch your head.
Gotcha. Got a little soldier standing guard in here.
Down here at the cannons, take any footage of the cannons before we head up. Okay, so we have a few minutes to do that. Now you do have the red coat and the yellow coat West Indian Regiment. The red coat meant that they was a part of the military, and then the yellow coat meant that they were a part of the band. The red coat, this meant that they were a part of the military. Once you saw the red coat, and then they have a yellow coat with just the red, that meant that they were a part of the band. Okay. Yeah. She can't get her face in because this rock here, once the green, it gets a little bit shaky. Okay. So we try to put the rock there to...
Gotcha, you're in the military.
Yes. Castle, this is where you get the view. Now, the first thing we notice, yes, is the bow part of it. So there's nothing in there, just solid coral and limestone. And you would notice a few holes, so flagpole holes.
Okay.
We have the water tower straight ahead. The water tower is the tallest and highest point on this island. 216 feet above sea level, built 1928. And it stores 80,000 gallons of water for this entire area. So it's basically built to help regulate the water pressure throughout this part of the island. It's not in use anymore. Most persons wonder how they get the water or how it's maintained. It's underground water, and we do have a pumping station down at the bottom. Okay? At one point, they did have a crown on top, which was used as a signal tower.
I remember that.
But it's been closed for more than 20 years now. But hopefully, one day, it will be open. Those who want to take those 216 steps inside, they can. If they want to take the elevator, it takes them straight up to the top where they get a beautiful panoramic view of the island. They can take it up by themselves. Once they come back down, I'll meet them at the bottom.
Okay.
I ain't going up top. Oh no. We have two bridges. The first bridge that takes us over to Paradise Island was built in the late 1990s and was just recently renamed as the Sydney Poitiers Bridge. The second that brings us across from Paradise Island was built in 1966 by Resorts International. That entire backstretch is known as Paradise Island, formerly known as Hog Island, got its name in 1959 when the island was bought by Huntington Hartford. We all know the Atlantis Resort. Now there is a suite in that resort for $25,000 a night.
Yep.
Now I don't know what they get for $25,000, but we do have a lot of stars and celebrities who have slept in that suite. The minimum nights is actually 4 nights. Okay, we have 3 beautiful cruise ships in port today. That's Prince George Dock. That's where all the cruise ship port when they come into Nassau. The construction going on, which to me is blocking our beautiful view.
I just said that when we were
Is the U.S. Embassy, so that's going to be the home of the new U.S. Embassy. Yes, ma'am. Straight ahead, we have the pinkish reddish rooftop. That there is the British Colonial Hilton Hotel. Now, the reason why I'm pointing that out is the hotel sits on a landmark. Usually they have the Bahamian flag on top. Today, I don't know, maybe because of the weather, it's not there. But that's where Fort Nassau was situated. Now, Fort Nassau, that back then, that was Pirates Haven. That was their home. You know, they run that fort. They ruined it and totally destroyed it. And the fort is no longer there. It was actually torn down in 1896. Okay, but the hotel sits on the landmark. At the back of that hotel, I know at one point in time that there were ruins of the fort still at the back. Today, I'm not sure if it's still there, but back then there were ruins. Yes, ma'am. Even if you were to walk out to Bay Street in Coin of the Lorem jewelry store, in one part of that jewelry store, the ruins of Fort Nassau was in there as well. Because Fort Nassau was in the shape of a star, so it was huge. It was huge. The little pink steeple, that's the peak of the governor's mansion. That's where all the governor generals from 1801 who are appointed by the Queen, that's where they stay. We all know way off in the distance, which is actually taller now, almost taller than the water tower, the new Bahama Resort. So that's one of our newest hotels to be open. The yellow building right here facing us, that's the public treasury. Next to the yellow building, that greenish building, that's where the prison was at in 1965. Now the prison isn't there anymore, it's in the eastern area, can't be seen from this point, but that's the police headquarters. Way off in the distance, we see some tall steeples. Now that's our national stadium, built by the Chinese government as a gift. We did have a stadium there, it just wasn't seated enough to hold as much persons as this one holds. Okay, and then we do have our beautiful flora and fauna trees. This tree right here, only because the breeze isn't blowing, we all know it has the pods with the seeds. So the men on that island call that tree the woman's tongue. Reason being, when the breeze blow, the trees start shaking, rattling, making all kind of noise. So that's what they say about us. We always chattering, always talking of something to say. As we look around, we see the beautiful orange flowers, the Royal Poinciana. They bloom May, June, July, and August. September coming, by the end of September, the tree will be broken down just like a old broken down rugged tree, and you'll be like, hey, they need to cut the tree down, you know. But yes, when they bloom. And in some parts of India, that tree actually blooms blue because they use the leaves for their salads. So the leaves are sweet, I did taste it myself on a tour when I had with some guests. You know, it has that honey tip to the bottom of it. So the leaves are sweet. And in India, that's what they use in their salads. So in some parts of the world, these trees are food. Okay, now we did have a soap tree. We did have a soap tree because the soldiers who were here, you know, that was their form of bathing. The leaves, when you squash the leaves together, it turned sudsy, but it was cut down. By whom, I do not know, but when they decided to clear the area, the tree was mistakenly, it was mistakenly cut down. Okay, so now from here, we're going to head off to the Queen's Staircase. Okay? As we head out, we must stick to the left as much as possible, because on this island, left is right, right is wrong.
So as we head to our next stop, just thought I'd show you guys this plaque that's here in front of Fort Fincastle. That has some information on it, talking about when it was built, who it was built by, built in 1793 by Lord Dunmore, and some other information. Just thought I'd show that as we move on to the 66 steps. Here we have a closer look at the water tower, as we are right up on it. And as you can see, it definitely is the tallest point on the island. I'm getting dizzy even looking up there. Wow. Headed over to the Queen's Staircase, and if you remember, not too long ago I came and did a video here. So if you go back on the channel, you'll see my video I did here at the Queen's Staircase and the grotto.
The carving actually started out in 1834. Now, we know that they say 600 slaves hand carved it.
Right.
But they were actually freed slaves who came back to this canyon and carved it out. Now, the purpose of that was back then, all of what we call Mason Addition area going straight back, it was always known as the over the hill community. We just started hearing about the word over the hill community, hey Neville, but it was always considered from the late 17th century, early 18th century as over the hill community. So those persons were not able to get to and from the downtown area for their purchasing. Because remember now, all of Bay Street, that was shopping area. Right. That was shopping area. They live on top, shops to the bottom. And so these persons needed to get to that downtown area. So what the government did is they said, you know what, we need to alleviate some of this stress. So what they decided to do was they came to an agreement that, hey, how could we alleviate it? Those ex-slaves came back and hand-carved the entire cannon just to relieve that pressure for it to be used as a shortcut to and from the Bay Street area, and we still use this as a shortcut today. Now we call it the Queen's Staircase. We all know that under Queen Victoria's rule, slavery was abolished 1838. She started a 4-year apprenticeship in 1834, and so because she was queen at that time when this was carved out, they renamed it in her honor, thus giving it the name the Queen's Staircase. If a king was appointed, it would have named the King's Staircase.
Makes sense.
Okay? So now we have 66 steps. The steps beneath them are 3 inches beneath, being made of coral and limestone when wet. They can be very slippery, but they know the traffic from the area would have been heavy, and that would have wear and tear down those steps. So the government decided to replace them with these bricks we have here today, hoping that the trampling up and down, especially with tourism had already gotten started, would have helped eliminate the steps being torn down so fast and easily. Okay, to the right we do have a man-made waterfall. The name of that waterfall is Tandem. It was placed there July 10th, 1973 by the Bahamas government, just to signify freedom to the Bahamian people. But I will apologize to you now. The waterfall is man-made, so right now you don't hear no waterfalling at this present time. My apologies. Straight ahead, if you were to take in these steps down, you'd come across the Princess Margaret Hospital. It got its name in 1952 when Princess Margaret stayed a few days on the island. We only ask if you decide to take these steps down to use the guardrails provided on both ends, no tuck and rolls. But if you do decide that you want to master the art of tuck and roll, we ask that you keep on rolling because the emergency room will be straight ahead. But we'd like for you to reach down safely, so we ask that you just take your time going down. Okay, so that's the basic history of the historic green staircase. The rock being made of coral and limestone, vegetation just automatically grew out.
All right, so we're going to take a look inside the gift store here. Okay, got to sanitize first. There you go. All right. There's some souvenirs that you can get.
Senior manager, Mrs. Sayers, so she's in charge of the Fort Fincastle area.
Okay. You get stuff like your keychains, pirate bell, a little model of a ship. Yeah, this here's a book on pirates. Got a map. Some other books on piracy. One here on Christopher Columbus. And then right here you can get your rum cake. Now this is a very popular thing that tourists take back with them when they come to visit the Bahamas, is the rum cake. Because you cannot get a rum cake anywhere in the world as good as you can get it here in the Bahamas. So that's your assortment of rum cakes. You got the chocolate flavor, pina colada, and then I think this would be like the original flavor there. Then you can get your Bahamian made teas right here. And they got the cooler setup. You can come get soda, water, Powerade, something to cool your palate. And then you could also get some shiver sorbet. And this here is a Bahamian owned company, so this is made locally. You can get some snacks, potato chips, gum, and then here's more souvenir items you can purchase. Picture frames. I think this is here a candle or a candle holder or something. I don't know. Some more books, other stuff here. Get your neck pillows, mugs, some other souvenir items. Then they have some bush teas here from another company. You get a variety of bush teas here from the Passion. I think I showed that company before when I was at the museum. There's some more artifacts. We have some stuff you can use in the kitchen, some seasonings. Guava jam, tamarind jam, mango jam. Oh yeah. Got a book here. Some more artifacts that you can buy and take, symbolizing Junkanoo. Got some shot glasses here. And more books dealing with the history of the Bahamas. So man, this gift store has you covered. You can get anything that you want in here. I forgot to show this. Oh, tell me more about that. Okay, so this has some healing stones in it. Hematite, you said?
Yeah.
Hematite stones. And you can get flags if you want to take a flag back to be an honorary Bahamian. Or if you're a Bahamian and you just want a flag for your house, more books. There's some more books you can get here to learn something about the Bahamas. All right, so we've reached the end of our tour. We want to thank our wonderful tour guide, Raquel. Gave us so much information today.
Welcome.
It was a great tour. I really enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to do it again. I did it before. This is my second time. I'm probably going to come for a third one. They say third time's a charm. So
there we go.
I may come for a third one because I enjoyed it very much. And hopefully we can get inside this water tower soon, because I never had the opportunity to go inside there. So hopefully we can get back inside there. But thank you so much for being such a wonderful tour guide today. And thank you to the AMMC for having us out.
You're welcome.
Okay, so before we leave, I just want to show you guys that on the outside here, they have a straw market setup where you can come and get souvenirs and stuff like that. And it's all along from you buying the entrance of Fort Fincastle. They have these things set up. So not only in the gift shop, but you can also come right here to the outside of Fort Fincastle and get your souvenirs before you leave. Hope you guys can see the stuff I'm showing here, because I know the sun is causing a little blackout here, but I just wanted to show you guys that you can come and get your souvenir items before you leave. After you've done your tour and looked around the Fort Fincastle area, you can come and get your souvenirs. And it runs all the way to the end till you get to the booth where you get your tour tickets. Here's some more stuff here. Just want to show you as much as I can. All right, now, so I just want to let you know that our tour was a VIP tour. This was courtesy of the AMMC Corporation. But on the regular tours for adults, $3 plus VAT. The kids price, $2 plus VAT. So not expensive at all. Not expensive at all. It's very reasonably priced, and it's a very educational tour. As you can see, it's educational, it's fun, and you're going to enjoy it. So if you're visiting the Bahamas, make sure you come and check to Fort Fincastle and get your tour done. Now, this is going to bring us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give the video a big thumbs up, show some love to the channel, and if you haven't yet, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It'll keep you up to date on when I upload new content and even when I decide to go live. And don't forget, I'll have some links in the description section for you. So until next time, we'll see you in the next video.